If you've consumed any media lately, you've probably heard that there may be an upcoming recession. And while I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, and I'm not sure when this next recession will be, there are some really great ways that you can help prepare your finances for an upcoming recession. And these are things that my family is doing as well. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life and still accomplish financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. I live in Portland, Oregon with my husband Jacob and our two sons who are 2 and a few weeks old. And it sounds pretty scary when you talk about an upcoming recession, especially because a lot of us millennials either graduated into the '08 recession or this could be the first recession that we would experience as adults. And that is the case for me because I'm 28 years old. And like I said, an official recession hasn't been declared, but the first half of the year obviously has not been super great economically. So a lot of people are thinking that we could be going into a recession. So with all this talk of an upcoming recession, here's what we are doing to be able to secure our finances better for what could be an unsteady time. The first thing is job security. Now, in a recession, a lot of times what happens are layoffs. And so a way to avoid that deep pain of a recession is to keep your job and have that job security and continued income for your household. So focusing on keeping and maintaining your job is going to be really important. You can work at proving your worth to your employer and your manager so that they see how valuable you are to that team. So this may mean doing simple things like just showing up to work on time, being a kind person, and getting your work done on time, even going above and beyond to make sure that your work is of really great value so that your employer and manager can see how valuable you are to the daily operations of that business. And if you think about it, in the times of a recession, if you always have income coming in, then you're going to be good. So this is going to be so important to be able to make sure that you are continuing with bringing income into your household and maintaining that job security. So my husband works as a W-2 employee for an employer, and he's worked there for a year now. And this is something that obviously he's going to continue to do, is to show that he is a very, very valuable employee to their team. Now, at the current time of filming this, he's actually on parental leave and will be until the beginning of October. But after that, like when he gets back to work, obviously really wants to be able to showcase that he is such a valuable employee and going above and beyond to get work done of really great value. Now, I am self-employed, so this is a little bit different, and I'll be interested to see how much of my business may be affected by an upcoming recession. But I am trying to brainstorm of ways too in my business of revenue streams that I can take advantage of that would still be applicable if we were in a recession. So I definitely want to keep up with my business and bring in income for our household that way. The next thing is increasing your emergency fund. So what happens if you do end up losing your job in a recession? A really great thing to have is your emergency fund to be able to help you get by. And this gives you a greater sense of peace and security knowing that you have that money set aside if anything big were to come up or like a big expense came up, or if you did have a loss of income and needed to float yourself through that time. The typical advice is for an emergency fund to be 3 to 6 months of necessary expenses. And maybe this is a season where you decide that you want to be more on the higher end of a 6-month emergency fund. This definitely varies depending on everyone's situation and your household makeup and how steady your income is going to be. Like for our family, we have 2 incomes because of my husband's day job and my business. My business, though, it can be really vary for that income. And we also have a family. We have 2 kids. And with inflation, we have actually decided to increase our emergency fund even more. We were closer to that 3-month range, but now we want to be closer to 6. So we have been saving up more money in our emergency fund, and that has been a goal of ours in recent months. The third thing to do is create a budget, and this is something that you should be doing whether you're in a recession or not, because a budget is simply a tool that you can use to be able to give yourself the permission to spend on things. It's a plan for your money. I obviously love to talk about budgeting here on my channel, so if you want to learn more about budgeting, subscribe. This is the place that you need to be. But I think that having a budget is so important for you to plan out your money, whether that is in a time of high income or even low income. But especially during a recession where you really need to be super intentional with your spending, or if you had a loss of income, then having a budget is going to be so important so you know exactly where your money is being spent. If you want to learn more about how to start a budget, I have a video I will leave here and you can check it out there, and lots of videos here on my channel all about budgeting. We budget each and every month and have for the last 7 years in times of making very little income to making a higher income. So budgeting is super important no matter where you are. The fourth thing that you need to do is acknowledge your needs versus wants. So you can take a look at your budget and see what are things that you're spending money on that you actually need versus things that you just want or that are like fun to spend money on. Because if you ever get to a time where you have a reduction in income or loss of income, then it's going to be really important for you to be able to pull back on certain areas in your budget. And that may mean cutting out those things that are wants and instead focusing on those needs that you actually have. And while we are right now still spending money on things that we want because our income has remained the same, like things have seemed really steady for us for right now, we do know in our budget what things are needs versus wants. Needs are going to be things like groceries, gas, housing, utilities, and basic clothing. And everything else is just kind of a want. And so we know where we can pull back if we need to. And also now is a really great time to not give in to lifestyle creep. And I know that we've experienced that as well. Like I said, we started our marriage 7 years ago. We were making very little and we didn't do much besides work on paying off our debt and cover our basic necessities. But as time has gone on and we've made more money, we definitely have been enjoying our lives more and spending more money on those kinds of things, which is totally fine. And you should be able to use your budget to be able to do those things. But it's also important to be cautious and not just give in to lifestyle creep. Like every time you get a raise, if you put that raise towards lifestyle or something fun, then you may notice that you're spending way more on that category than you necessarily were planning or that you were before. And then you aren't putting as much towards other things like your financial goals. So now may be a really great time to not give into that lifestyle creep and instead focus on those goals and those necessities and reevaluate. So let me know in the comments below, how are you feeling about this big talk of an upcoming recession? And what are you doing to prepare for you and your household? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more budgeting videos that you can find here. And I will look forward to seeing you in that next video. Bye.
About to leave.